I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. ...2019 Mazda CX-9.
Signature, top trim.
And it's all-wheel drive.
Yes, it is, with G-vectoring.
Horsepower and torque.
227 horsepower on 87 octane, 250 horsepower on 91 octane, and 310 pound-feet of torque from a 2.5-liter turbo four-cylinder, just like the one in the CX-5.
So this is very similar to the CX-5, just slightly bigger, and it's a three-row.
This is big CX-5, yep.
And right off the bat, there's one thing you hate about this car. What is it?
Well, luckily, I'm not driving because that is what I hate about this car. I don't actually fit comfortably in this.
But what part specifically doesn't fit comfortably?
So when I get in my comfortable driving position, my knee hits this little plastic part.
Which knee?
My right knee, right below the dash. So it's this little plastic part that just juts out this extra little bit. If that didn't do it, I'd be very comfortable. However, also the seats. The seats are not the most comfortable for me. There's like this weird little dip where my butt goes, and then I just can't get comfortable.
Okay, so for me, the seating position is perfect. My right knee hits this soft padding right here, so it's very comfortable while driving at all times. And the seating position is great. I had a problem with the Golf GTI seats. They didn't have enough support at the top of my back, but for you, they were perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So for different body types, surprisingly enough, I think this is the most drastic change for different sizes and heights of people.
It is. So I can't recommend this for people that are 6'1.5" of my body shape, but if you are 6'1.5" and whatever other height, I would recommend going to the dealership and just trying it out. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I like the actual driving position. The height feels kind of sporty and stuff. It's really low, but just my knees and stuff, whatever, I would recommend just checking it out.
I think this is like the first car we've driven that you automatically have to know it compared to the competition because of a weird seating position.
Yeah, there's like a lot of things I like about this, like almost everything, but I just can't recommend it for myself.
So back to the seats and the three-rowness of this. We do have 3 rows, so it competes with the Atlas,
The Pilot.
the Ascent that we have not reviewed yet.
Yes.
The 3rd row is actually very usable.
It is. I shockingly fit in every row in this car.
So here's how I made Jacob fit in it. I said, put yourself to the front seat in the passenger and adjust yourself knowing that someone behind you is your height and you like them.
So then I went behind myself, did the exact same thing, and then I went behind myself over there and then did the same thing, and I was still comfortable.
Yeah, like you could probably do maybe an hour in the back of the car like this. This is way more comfortable than that Tahoe we drove in.
Yeah, I agree.
And then there's something else, Durango.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't remember the Durango though.
But in general, if you're trying to get a 3-row for adults, you should get a minivan.
You probably should. SUVs are just the
Yeah.
cool thing to get now, apparently.
But like, we sat in the back of a Pacifica and let's just say we had to book that thing ASAP.
Yeah. Look for a Pacifica review soon.
And I guess we should probably bang off the rest of this interior and look at this color of these seats.
Yeah, it's called Chroma Brown. I would call it rust.
Yeah, for sure, because it's very orangey. It's probably the orangiest brown. Much better than that other dark brown in the Denali.
Oh yeah, I like the Denali shade of brown, but it's just a little bit too dark.
Yeah, the only thing that throws me off is the wood grain trim and the brown. They kind of clash. Like right when I first looked at it, I'm like, ugh.
I agree.
But all this aluminum metal-y stuff looks really good.
It does look Savage Geese premium.
And then everything is soft touch, which is what every single person wants in everything apparently.
Yeah, soft touch for your elbows. Everything's great, really comfortable. And then we have gloss black around the shifter, which is gross. And then we have it around the window switches as well, which also kind of sucks, but whatever. Not that much of it in here.
So overall, interior-wise, do you think this is nicer than the Atlas? Because I know people rave about Volkswagen interiors, but like...
This is for sure nicer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
So like, that whole thing, it's like, oh, Volkswagen's got such a nice interior. Like, I'm not fully buying it anymore because Mazda came around.
Yeah.
So I guess the usual tests?
Visors. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Fail.
Nah.
That doesn't count, guys.
Does not count. Cup holder, we've got a small coffee. It fits perfectly here, but the new Mazda 3, so that's got the different infotainment, and that moved the cup holders from back here up to the front, and I like that a lot more because it's kind of awkward to reach back for cups like this.
Yeah.
I like to reach forward.
I do agree.
So I'm very excited for the whole refresh of the whole Mazda family based off the Mazda 3.
And with all that out of the way, box test. 13 boxes. Get your own box at patreon.com/TheStraightPipes.
Couldn't really stack 2 boxes on top of each other here, but I think it's still a good amount of room.
Yeah, I think it's a little narrow because it doesn't have like a huge panoramic sunroof, and I think that actually is detrimental for the box test in this situation.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a panoramic sunroof.
It would.
And then infotainment quickly, this does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, rewinding satellite radio stations, and Tune Mix.
This was the first Mazda that they refreshed to have all that stuff.
Yeah, so this has it, the CX-5 has it. The 2020 Mazda Miata is going to have it, which we'll review probably like 6 times this year. And then also the Mazda 3's got the newer one, but it still has all those features in it.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the first one with it.
To be honest, I think this infotainment is the sweet spot. I can do everything I want, like with just a couple clicks. It's got the scroll wheel, which I think is the most luxury thing ever. I think Acura and Lexus really blew it by not having a scroll wheel and using a touchpad instead.
Yeah, I do like this, other than the really terrible maps that you can't zoom out on, which we've already previously complained in every single video about this generation of infotainment.
But that's fixed with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is perfect.
Which are not touchscreen when you're driving.
The only thing you complained about is it's a pain to set all your favorites.
It is.
But once you're at a stop, you do all that, and then the rest of using everything is so easy. Like, I can do everything with so few clicks of any buttons.
And if you own it, like, you're just going to set your favorites once and deal with it, basically.
I'm going to 100% say this is my favorite infotainment of the year for something reasonably priced. 100%.
Wow. All right.
It does everything I want to do.
There you go.
Highly recommend, as long as it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and rewinding satellite radio stations.
And this now has a 360 camera and a reverse camera, and they are terrible resolution.
Very terrible, but they fixed it in the Mazda 3, so if you look towards the future, everything will show up there. But we have parking sensors. The 360 camera is kind of tricky to use, but it all kind of works.
And if you look towards the generation of currently that you would be purchasing if you bought this vehicle, it is really bad for the reverse camera.
And then we've got the digital gauge, just like we have in the Mazda 6.
Yeah, really nice digital gauges, super clean, crisp, love them.
Then we've got our head-up display that's not on a little plastic panel, it's on the windshield, which is perfect. And you know what I really like about the head-up display? When you're driving, it shows you if you're in the lanes, like if it senses it. It'll show you if there's something in your blind spot to the left and to the right at all times.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you don't even have to like put on your signal and wait for an alarm, like it always tells you. But you can't get your big digital speed to show up in the middle gauge cluster, it's only the needle. But I think they solved that in the Mazda 3, so the future one will be better.
Let's talk about this one.
We can talk about this one, but we always got to talk about the future too.
But we got to talk about this one because people are going to actually buy this one.
Well, we did just talk about it, and then I brought up the future.
Okay.
So we did talk about it?
Barely.
But it was spoken about.
It was spoken about.
Okay, perfect.
The steering wheel itself feels great. The buttons are the current generation, not the new Mazda 3 generation, which is a weird problem with pressing the little buttons because there's not enough room for your thumb.
And what I really like
Did you notice that? I talked about the future there.
And what I really liked is that there's hard buttons on the left here to turn off a whole bunch of stuff and for your 360 camera. And then we've got our climate, which is all hard buttons. I think Mazda really nails the climate button stuff.
And we have cooled seats this year too, and a heated steering wheel.
So overall, interior-wise, top notch.
Top notch.
For a non-luxury but premium regular brand,
Yes.
like
This is up there.
super top notch.
One of my favorites, if not my actual favorite.
So now your turn to drive, and let's dabble with the looks.
First thing you're going to want to talk about, body lines. Go for it.
We don't have those new style Mazda body lines where it's like super smooth, but it is pretty good. And
I like these more.
Okay, I understand because the new one's weird, but think about back in the day. So like a 56 Chevy Bel Air, we don't really know what it is, but it had the fins, right?
Yes, it did.
There was probably one company that started with fins and everyone in their typewriter newspapers were like, what is that? That looks ridiculous. And then guess what? 5 years later, everyone's got fins. So maybe it'll catch on.
So you're comparing the current Mazda 3 to
Yeah.
a 56 Chevy.
I'm comparing no hard body lines trend to fins trend.
All right.
But it looks pretty good, especially in this color. Like when the light hits it perfectly, it's got very good body line reflections. But I would probably prefer to get this in sky
Crystal,
red.
yeah,
Just
yes. Whatever, soul
whatever-
red metallic.
Whatever red they're doing.
Crystal, soul, mica, red, just whatever.
And then to the front end, we don't have the blacked out kind of grille. We've got those lines that come across.
Yeah, and we actually have an illuminated grille because this is the signature trim, and that's, I think, a little bit over the top.
I've seen that on Mazdas on the street, and I'm like, is that like a bad modification?
I
Like,
didn't know it was stock at first either.
it's super cheese, but like,
It's too cheese.
I guess whatever, but
It's not whatever. It's a little too cheese.
yeah, but some people want that.
Mercedes even does that, I think in Europe only, where they light up the badge in the
Yeah,
front.
it looks bad.
It looks really bad.
Do you like the lines on the grille though that go across?
I don't mind them.
Okay, I don't think they're gonna have them next year because they got rid of it on the CX-5 as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. I feel like they might still have it for the signature.
I hope not. But what do you think of the headlights?
The headlights are great because they address the problem that we had with every other Mazda.
The DRLs stay on while driving and don't activate the little headlight.
Exactly. So whatever excuses that they tried to feed us for not having it for every other Mazda, they solved it in this. So whatever they did to solve it, solve this same problem in every other Mazda, and we got 2 thumbs up, which I'm not going to do because I got to hold the steering wheel.
And this is previous gen, not current gen.
Yes.
future/current gen. And then like all Mazda SUVs, we've got the license plate below the grille, so it looks so much better.
Getting rid of front plates, hopefully in Ontario. High five, yes, hopefully.
What's the new slogan? Open for business?
No, that's the one for the commercial plates. The other one is a place to grow. It's actually really nice.
A place to grow, except for if you're trying to buy a house in Toronto because the market is screwed up.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna rent forever.
Okay.
And then like the Mazda 6, we do kind of like a hood that pops up higher than the fenders, so it kind of looks cool like that.
Yeah, overall this thing looks pretty good.
How about the back end?
Back end is good. It's not like over the top. It's typical Mazda styling.
I think it's classier, and I think it's because it's got that chrome strip that goes through the taillights at the back.
And the taillights do look good, just like they do in every other Mazda.
Dual exhaust, real.
Yes, it is. Shout out Mazda for that, keeping it real.
And then how about the wheels?
Wheels fit the car, like very well. They are 20s.
Agree.
And the Continental recommended tire is the Cross Contact LX Sport. So that's pretty much it for looks. Typical Mazda styling, typical, looks good, not over the top in any direction.
And very excited for the next gen.
Now let's send it. Pretty good. There's a little bit of lag, not much, totally acceptable. Still my favorite drivetrain in this class. It is definitely a little bit slower than the one in CX-5 just because this is bigger. Then we have a 6-speed auto transmission, no CVTs. Again, thank you Mazda. We do have sport mode.
But all that really does is just keep the revs up nice and high on the highway.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really change much, just like it doesn't change much in every other Mazda, which is fine.
And what's cool is that we don't have paddles. We just have the shifter to change gears and down for up and up for down.
Yeah, you really don't need it. It's a CX-9, but at least it's there.
Maybe you need it for like low gears for off-roading because this is all-wheel drive. But we don't have any off-road modes.
No, we don't have any of that stuff. And right before sending it into Cliche Corner, let's talk about the suspension because it's so well damped. It's that typical Mazda ride quality where it's slightly firm, but not over the top firm, not too soft. It's just like this perfect middle ground.
It's been nothing but comfortable and pleasant to drive in.
Exactly. And just like every other Mazda, they go for this perfect balance between too firm and too soft. It's like that just right, that like Little Red Riding Hood type thing, or whatever that thing was with whatever that girl was.
I think it was Porridge.
Oh yeah, the 3 bears.
Is that Little Red Riding Hood?
I don't remember.
No, that's the one with wolves? Or is that the one with... Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments.
We don't have kids, so we haven't read any of those fairy tales in a while.
Yeah, it's been a really long time.
Wasn't there a werewolf in Little Red Riding Hood?
There was.
Or was that the witch?
It was the...
Or was the werewolf chasing her into...
It was the...
Someone
this
was,
one's too...
Somebody
This
wanted
one's
porridge.
too hot. This one's too cold.
That was Porridge, though, and
it
bears.
Was. Let us know.
Whatever.
And send it into Cliche Corner, 3-row send, so a little bit gentle. And it handles pretty well. Obviously lots of body roll, but it's fine. The steering is great. Mazdas always do steering great. It's like that BMW level of heaviness, but dialed down just a bit.
It feels a lot better than I thought it would for the size through Cliche Corner. I think probably the best 3-row SUV.
Maybe.
Durango was just like more obnoxious in race car. But
well, that was an SRT.
Yeah.
And the Acura MDX because super handling all-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah. But that one had like a really nasty infotainment, so it gets disqualified right away.
Yeah.
Just like your knee placement.
Yeah, exactly.
How close is that right there?
Look at it.
Ah.
That's the worst.
And I guess that's pretty much it for the CX-9. Very similar to the CX-5. What's the price?
$51,800.
Canadian.
For the top trim with this optional gray paint.
I think that's a pretty fair price considering how nice it is in here.
It is. It definitely feels like it's a class above.
And then as for competitors we drove, the Atlas and the Pilot, they were about the same price as well.
Yes, they were.
The MDX and the Durango SRT were more expensive.
Yes, they were.
We've got the Ascent coming up, which we haven't done yet. And then there's also the Palisade and the Telluride coming up.
Yeah, I can't wait to drive those. Let's talk about looks between all of those. Which one do you think looks the best?
Probably Durango SRT and the Telluride.
I agree fully.
Okay.
We can't talk about interiors for all of them because we haven't driven them, but between the ones that we've driven, the Pilot, the Atlas, and this one, and the Durango.
I think this one wins for me because the infotainment does everything I want it to do, and it's just so perfect.
I agree. This one is, I think, tied for me with the Durango. However, I don't fit in this one, so Durango wins by default.
And then for the Telluride and the Palisade, I assume it's going to be Hyundai infotainment that's just like normal.
It'll probably be really good.
So I would still prefer this over that because this is edging that one out for me.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's got the scroll wheel. Scroll wheel is luxury, man.
All right, fair enough.
This is the only thing in this class that has a scroll wheel.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, taking interior looks, power, all that into consideration, is this one of your favorites or is this your favorite?
This is my favorite in this class. However, I would probably go minivan instead or wait for the next generation because there's so much cool new Mazda stuff coming in. and I really want to see how they put that down.
I agree. This is my favorite. However, I don't fit, so I'm still going to recommend it to other people, but they just need to make sure that they fit. So if you don't fit, I would recommend the Durango.
Yeah, the SRT Durango was fun. Like if you were going to the dealership and like you had a couple of Red Bulls that day, a little Monster.
And even the RT though, because it's still got a V8.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
So let us know what the best 3-row SUV is, and let us know at what point you just get a minivan.
Don't forget to subscribe. I know a lot of you people watch without subscribing, so just hit the subscribe button, and then you might as well hit the notification bell too.
Patreon.com/TheStraightPipes. Join our YouTube membership and Teespring for t-shirts.
Straight pipes.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. Subscription break. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe right now. Subscribe. We didn't do that.